When you open your eyes each morning, before reaching for your phone, before stepping into the rhythm of daily responsibilities, there is a short but sacred moment, a space where you are neither fully in sleep nor fully in motion. It is there that your inner world waits for your instruction. And in that moment, the most important reminder you can offer yourself is this: I am responsible for my inner state. These words are not a burden. They are not blame, they are freedom. You see, many people wake up and allow the outside world to immediately dictate their mood. The weather, the headlines, a missed message, a number on the scale. These things begin to shape their inner reality before they have even consciously greeted themselves. And slowly, without noticing, their inner world becomes a reflection of chaos, not clarity. But what if, in that quiet space at the beginning of the day, you choose to become the master of your state instead of its victim? To say I am responsible for my inner state is not an act of ego. It is an act of humility. It is the recognition that although we cannot control all events, we can always choose how we relate to them. We cannot prevent every storm, but we can choose the steadiness of our breath. We cannot always silence the noise outside, but we can train ourselves not to be pulled by every sound. When you rise each morning and speak this into your being, what you are doing is activating awareness. You are telling yourself, no matter what happens today, I will return to myself. I will observe my reactions, I will honor my feelings, but I will not hand over the keys of my peace to something outside of me. This kind of responsibility is not rigid. It is not about suppressing how you feel. It's about learning how to stand in the center of yourself, even when emotions rise, even when tension appears, even when confusion visits. It is choosing to be aware instead of reactive. To ask, what am I contributing to this moment? Rather than always looking for what the moment is doing to you. Responsibility is the beginning of freedom. If your mood is constantly in the hands of others, then you are not free. If your peace can be disturbed by a few words, by someone else's tone, or by a temporary setback, then that peace was only ever a surface layer, not something rooted. But when you begin the day by claiming responsibility for your inner state, you plant something deeper. You remind yourself that your emotions are valid, but they are also fluid, that your thoughts are powerful, but they are not always truthful, and that your attention, your breath, and your presence are tools you can use, not just things you react to. Each time life becomes challenging, this reminder becomes your anchor. Think about how often we say, "They made me angry," or "This ruined my day." But pause, is that true? Or did we allow it? Did we hand over that power without even realizing? Taking responsibility does not mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means knowing that between stimulus and response, there is space, and in that space lies your power. So, when you sit in silence at the start of your day and whisper to yourself, I am responsible for my inner state, you are opening that space. You are stepping into ownership not to control everything, but to become conscious of what you carry and what you let go of. Responsibility is not a heavy load. It is the lightness of not blaming the world for your restlessness. It is the empowerment of knowing that peace is something you can cultivate, not something you have to wait for. When someone speaks harshly, you can return to yourself. When a plan falls apart, you can return to yourself. When doubt creeps in, you can return to yourself. This is not always easy, but nothing sacred is easy at first. That is why we train. That is why we repeat. That is why we begin again each morning with intention. It is easy to be peaceful when everything is calm. But the real strength is found when you remain grounded, even when life becomes loud. And that strength begins with the words you tell yourself at sunrise. So tomorrow, when you wake up, pause. Before the world begins to pull you in different directions, pause. Place your hand on your heart. Close your eyes for just a few seconds, and tell yourself, not as a command, not as a task, but as a gift. Asterisk, I am responsible for my inner state. Asterisk, let these words not be spoken from the mouth, but from the soul. Let them settle into your bones. Let them guide your first breath of the day, and then carry that truth with you gently, firmly into whatever the day holds. Because when your inner state becomes your responsibility, you will no longer live in reaction, you will live in realization. Each morning, after reclaiming responsibility for your inner state, next question to ask is, asterisk, what will I do with this state? Asterisk, because intention without action is like a flame without fuel. You can feel inspired, grounded, peaceful. But unless you direct that energy with clarity, it fades. This is why, every morning, you must remind yourself, asterisk today, I choose discipline over distraction. Asterisk, this choice is not about rigidity. It is not about forcing yourself through the day with clenched fists and tired eyes. It is about alignment. It is about remembering what matters most to you and choosing to live in service of that moment by moment. Distraction will always be available. You can reach for your phone. You can scroll endlessly. You can fill the silence with noise, the stillness with stimulation, and the discomfort with avoidance. You can stay busy all day long and still go to bed feeling unfulfilled. But discipline, true discipline, is choosing not to waste your sacred time on things that do not nourish you. The world is full of people who are busy, but not present, exhausted, but not growing, constantly stimulated, but deeply disconnected. What separates the one who grows from the one who repeats the same day over and over is this: the one who chooses discipline, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is not convenient, especially when it would be easier to choose distraction. To choose discipline is to return again and again to the path, even when your mind tries to convince you otherwise, even when doubt whispers that skipping one day won't matter, even when fear tells you that comfort is safer than challenge. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about remembering and then returning. In the quiet of the morning, before the world places its demands upon you, ask yourself, asterisk, what is one thing I can do today that aligns with my purpose? Asterisk, it might be a physical practice. It might be learning. It might be stillness. It might be creating something with your hands or your voice. Whatever it is, choose it, then stay with it. That is the essence of discipline. The undisciplined mind is like a candle in the wind, flickering, unstable, unreliable. But the disciplined mind becomes a steady flame. It becomes a beacon not just for yourself, but for others. You begin to show up in the world not based on how you feel in the moment, but based on what you have chosen to embody. And that, slowly but surely, becomes your character. There will be days when you do not feel like showing up, days when the energy is low, the doubts are high, and everything seems to pull you away from your path. But discipline is not about what you feel. It is about what you decide. Feelings change, conditions fluctuate. But the one who trains daily to rise above the pull of distraction builds something within that no outer circumstance can take away. Discipline is quiet. It does not shout. It does not ask for recognition. It does not need to be seen. It lives in the repetition of small, deliberate actions, in the ability to say no when something threatens your focus, in the willingness to say yes to effort, even when no one is watching. These are not heroic acts, they are subtle, but over time they forge a life of deep stability and inner strength. There is no need to wait for the perfect mood. Do not wait until everything feels right. Start, even when it feels difficult. Begin, even when there is resistance. Discipline teaches you that motion creates clarity, that progress is not a result of perfect conditions, but of consistent intention. And here is the truth: each time you honor your discipline, your self-respect grows. Each time you follow through, your trust in yourself deepens. And with that trust, something powerful awakens. A knowing that you can rely on yourself, not just when things are easy, but especially when they are not. This world will offer you countless ways to escape yourself, to avoid the discomfort of growth, to numb the quiet call of your potential. But every time you choose discipline, you strengthen your ability to listen to that call. You show yourself that you are not here to be comfortable. You are here to be conscious. You are here to remember your power, not just in moments of stillness, but in how you act, in what you practice, and in what you prioritize. The one who chooses discipline over distraction is not choosing suffering. They are choosing depth. They are choosing to build a foundation so strong that when the winds of life blow, they do not fall. So when the morning arrives and you find yourself at the edge of another day, choose wisely. Ask yourself, will I give this day to what strengthens me or to what drains me? Will I act with purpose or react out of habit? Choose to sit for your practice. Choose to move your body. Choose to keep your promises. Choose to protect your time. Choose to do what nourishes your spirit. Not just once, but again and again. That is discipline. And as you begin to live this way, not for approval, not for reward, but out of devotion to your own growth, you will begin to notice a shift. Life will no longer feel scattered. Your days will no longer pass by in a blur. You will begin to feel rooted, even when things outside are uncertain. And that truly is the reward of discipline, because in a distracted world, a focused mind becomes a superpower, and that power is already within you. You only need to choose it, one breath, one action, one day at a time. So begin your morning not just with calm, but with commitment, not just with stillness, but with strength. Let your day be a reflection of the choice you make right now. Today, I choose discipline over distraction. When the mind is quiet and the breath has settled, a truth begins to rise, not from the surface, but from within the stillness. That truth is this: my thoughts shape my reality. Not because they are magical, but because they are powerful. They are the beginning of every choice, every emotion, every action. And most people walk through life completely unaware of the stories they tell themselves, the meanings they assign to events, and the voice they allow to narrate their entire existence. Each morning, you are given a choice not just about what to do, but how to see. What lens will you wear? What story will you strengthen? What thoughts will you feed? The answers to these questions determine not just how your day feels, but how your life unfolds. Your thoughts are like the wind that shapes the sand unseen, but leaving a very visible mark. And if you do not train the mind will shape your reality based on fear, on doubt, on habit. To say my thoughts shape my reality is not to deny the difficulty of life. It is not to pretend that pain does not exist or that suffering is an illusion. It is to remember that your experience of those things is filtered through the quality of your mind. That two people can face the same situation, and one can see growth while the other sees defeat. That perspective is not given, it is chosen. When you wake up in the morning and repeat this to yourself, it is a call to awareness. You are reminding yourself that every thought is a seed. Some seeds grow into strength, clarity, compassion. Others grow into anxiety, judgment, separation. And every day you are planting consciously or unconsciously. So the question is not, will I think today? The question is, will I think with awareness? The mind is not the enemy. The mind is a tool, but like any tool, it must be handled with care. It must be observed, not obeyed blindly. It must be sharpened, not dulled by distraction and noise. Most people live as if their thoughts are facts. But thoughts are not facts, they are possibilities. They are voices you can question. They are clouds you can watch pass by. And if you begin your day with that understanding, you give yourself space to choose which thoughts deserve your energy and which do not. There will be thoughts that arise without invitation, thoughts of comparison, thoughts of fear, thoughts of unworthiness. This is natural. The mind recycles what it has known, but awareness gives you power. The moment you notice a thought, you are no longer trapped by it. You are free to choose your response. This is the power of a trained mind. It does not silence the noise. It learns not to follow it. When a limiting thought appears asterisk, I'm not enough. This is too hard. I'll never succeed asterisk. You do not need to fight it. Fighting creates resistance. Instead, observe it. Smile at it. Ask, is this thought serving the person I am becoming? And if the answer is no, let it go. Not with force, but with softness. Like exhaling stale air, like opening a clenched hand. Throughout your day, your thoughts will guide your focus. And your focus will guide your emotions. And your emotions will guide your actions. So you must begin not with action, but with thought. Before you speak, before you react, before you judge, pause. Ask, where is this thought leading me? Is it leading you toward presence or distraction? Toward fear or courage? Toward division or connection? This is not always easy, especially when emotions are high and old patterns return. But this is why you practice. This is why you remind yourself every morning, because the one who observes their thoughts is no longer a slave to them. They become a sculptor, shaping the inner world with intention, patience, and care. Even your body responds to your thoughts. A single fearful thought can tighten your muscles, shorten your breath, quicken your heart, and a single empowering thought can relax your chest, soften your gaze, and return you to center. The body listens, so you must listen too, to the thoughts that create tension and the ones that restore peace. Choose to feed the thoughts that align with clarity, with truth, with compassion. This is not about pretending to be positive. This is not about ignoring pain. It is about choosing thoughts that empower you to face life as it is, with courage, with presence, with grace. Thoughts that remind you of your strength when you forget it. Thoughts that bring you back to your breath when you're lost in worry. Thoughts that open your heart when the world feels cold. And over time, this practice becomes your natural way of being. You begin to catch the old thoughts before they spiral. You begin to speak to yourself with more kindness, more honesty. You begin to live not from the mind's chaos, but from its clarity. This is the power of the inner voice, the one you choose to strengthen each morning. So tomorrow and every morning that follows, return to this reminder. Asterisk, my thoughts shape my reality. Asterisk, not because they control the world, but because they control how you meet it. Because they control the lens through which you see your path, your purpose, yourself. Say it with stillness. Say it with sincerity. Say it until it becomes more than words. It becomes a way of living. Because when your thoughts become your allies, your reality begins to reflect your highest self. No matter how focused, how disciplined, or how clear the mind may become, there will always be days when you stumble, days when your thoughts become clouded, days when your emotions take over, days when your actions fall out of alignment with your values. This is not a sign of failure. It is simply the nature of the human path. And this is why every morning the fourth reminder must be spoken gently into your heart. Every moment is a chance to return to my path. These words hold within them a deep compassion, a quiet understanding that life is not a straight line. It twists, it turns, it tests, and if you measure your progress only by perfection, you will forever feel behind. You will believe that any step off the path means you've lost your way. But the truth is, the path is never lost. Only your attention may wander from it, and the moment you choose presence again, the path is beneath your feet once more. It is easy to feel frustrated when we slip into old habits or lose our rhythm. The mind begins to whisper, you've gone too far. You've undone all your progress. You've failed. But this voice does not speak truth. It speaks from expectation. And expectation often carries a harshness that drowns out the softer voice of wisdom. The voice that says, begin again. To return is to reclaim. To return is to remember that no matter how far the mind drifts, awareness is always waiting. It is not something you must earn. It is already within you, and this is why the practice is not to be perfect, but to keep returning. There is great strength in the one who continues after falling, not because they never stumble, but because they choose not to remain on the ground. They rise, not from pride, but from clarity, from the recognition that growth does not happen in a straight upward climb. It happens in the returning, in the recommitment, in the quiet whisper to oneself, this moment too is a beginning. When you tell yourself each morning that every moment is a chance to return, you create space around your missteps. You no longer carry the weight of yesterday into today. You no longer let one mistake become an identity. You allow yourself to be fluid like water, able to flow around obstacles and still reach your destination. The disciplined mind is not rigid. It is resilient. It does not resist failure. It learns from it. It does not fear being lost. It knows the way back. And this way back is always through awareness, through breath, through presence. Even in the middle of chaos, you can return. In the middle of noise, of distraction, of emotion, you can come back to yourself. You do not need hours of silence to reconnect. Sometimes it only takes one breath, one mindful exhale, one pause in the middle of your day to remember, I am still here. I am still walking. The world moves quickly. There is pressure to always be ahead, to always have clarity, to always be performing at your highest level. But real strength is built in the moments you slow down, in the humility to admit you've drifted, and in the courage to gently guide yourself back. Forgiveness is a vital part of returning. Forgiveness not just for others but for yourself, for the times you knew better but did not act, for the times you broke your own rhythm, for the days you chose comfort over growth. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is the willingness to let go of punishment and choose presence instead. You are not defined by how many times you get lost. You are defined by how often you return, how often you choose to reconnect, how often you rise after falling, not with shame, but with understanding, not with frustration, but with grace. And every return makes you stronger, not in the eyes of the world, but within yourself, because with every return, your awareness sharpens, your compassion deepens, your connection to your own path becomes more sincere. The mind becomes less reactive, the heart more steady. Returning is not passive, it is active. It requires honesty. It requires attention. It requires the strength to begin again, even when the weight of the past tries to hold you in place. And so, with each sunrise, speak this into your being not as a rule, but as a truth. Asterisk, every moment is a chance to return to my path. Asterisk, these words are not meant to excuse inaction. They are meant to inspire persistence, to remind you that this day, this hour, this very breath holds within it the doorway back to alignment. Let this be your reminder when things don't go as planned, when the day feels heavy, when your habits slip, when your thoughts wander, when fear takes the wheel. You are never too far from your center. You are never too far from your breath. The path is not outside of you. It lives beneath your feet, waiting for your awareness to meet it again. And the more often you return, the shorter the distance becomes. What once took days to realign begins to take only moments. Because you are no longer searching, you are remembering, returning not to something new, but to something ancient and familiar. The still point inside you that has never left. So rise each day, not with the pressure to be perfect, but with the commitment to return. And each time you do, you strengthen the deepest part of you, the part that cannot be broken, only forgotten. Because every moment you return, you become the path itself.